it's always interesting because everybody's like, I'll just fold North or move them somewhere. If we just go through most people agree the AFL system started from 1990. North has won the same amount of premierships as Collingwood in that time. The only difference is obviously the crowd and attendance base. As a footy community, why are we so obsessed with how big of a crowd is every week? That I've never seen. It seems like AFL seems to be the only supporters that go, oh my God, you guys only got 20,000 this week. This guy's got 60,000. I don't see other supporters from other codes carry on as much as that. Do you guys know a reason about that?
You're not an NBA fan then.
Well,
holy smokes!
It just doesn't. Well, always just doesn't seem to be the case and stuff like that.
20,000
yeah, well, that's
anyway,
it. But they have small stadiums. It's easy for them to pack out and stuff like that. But it just seems something that we're always obsessed with. And
I think it's not that hard to figure out. Win games, your fans come back.
Well, exactly.
You guys Richmond got accused. Fans got accused of being fair weather in the early 2010s.
Yeah.
Started making finals. The bandwagon started. You win the flag, and of course everything explodes.
Yeah. Or you have Carlton fans who turn up and you guys get smashed. So I don't know what's wrong with you guys.
Jeez, you've won 4 in a row by 10 goals, and you're still getting the boot kicked in you.
No, it's fine. Like, I'm not going tomorrow. I'm going to the Richmond Hawthorn game. So
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Like,
for what we
that's
do,
a choice.
for what we dish up, we're about to dish up. I'm sorry.
That's fine. One of my best friends is a Richmond supporter. Like, so is he. But it's what you get. Like, and obviously we'd won 3 in a row against weak opposition the last 3 weeks. But then no one really turned up to the PortAdelaide game. We had 34,000 people. We win by 9 goals, and I was laughing at the Carlton fans not at the game because you'd just seen probably the best Carlton performance in probably half a decade, and you didn't come to the game.
Yeah, and no one was there. It was pretty funny.
Exactly. Yeah. And you look at tonight's game, the WesternBulldogs game, and it was sold out. I don't know what that means in the AFL because you go back 2 weeks to Western Adelaide, it was also a sellout, and they didn't get 40,000 people. Like, where are the people?
Yeah. Well, they give away a lot of free tickets and things like that.
Or
so
you've got
it might
medallion
be
clubs and stuff like that.
Available tickets are sold out, but then memberships take up the rest of the space and no one turns up.
My favourite thing for the Carlton game, I can't remember who the player was, but they grabbed the footy and went to walk over to some fans and realised no one was there. And they had to change direction and turn left. I thought that was quite funny.
I don't like talking about North as much, but when you watched us versus Geelong, because they're doing all the renovations in the stands, they'd go up and try and high-five the fans that are watching and no one was there.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Okay, so talking about the draftees, and it's been a big story this week about Harley Reid. Now, is it a thing? Should these players be more transparent? I'll give one story off the top. Des Headland, who went to the Lions, pick 1 back in the day, which is about 20-odd years ago now. Apparently he, in these interview with Brisbane, he wore his Fremantle shirt to try to, and then he ended up going to the Lions, won a premiership there, and then ended up getting traded back to Freo later in his career. We've heard the news, Tanner Bruin's reaction and his family's reaction when he got drafted to the Giants. Archie Perkins apparently had some, stuff to say in interviews
it was
and that.
Well-reported story.
Yeah, it was. So, I always say apparent because I'm not there, but it all seems that's how it went down. And now we don't know how true these Harley Reid rumours are, but
if you believe his manager and the West Coast Football Club, which I'd like to think I would take over Sam McClure, just 2 organisations versus one man. It's not true, but it's still worthy of a conversation.
It is.
What it is it's the curse of pick 1. So I've said for ages, if Jason Horne-Francis was drafted at number 2 to North and then left after a year, no one would have cared. If Harley Reid was the second best kid in the country and didn't want to go to Victoria circa Archie Perkins, Tanner Bruin, these guys, no one would give a stuff. But because he's going to be the kid taken first, all of a sudden it's now a big thing. What it is, first of all, is draft tampering.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm 25 years old and I can't believe I'm saying back in my day, but man, we would have killed to go anywhere. What does moving in a state... it's not like you grew up in Boston and you have to move to California. Man, it's a 2-hour flight.
Yeah.
That's not to Harley, though, because I don't think.
And this is I know, I was responding to a few people who were, you can't make 18-year-olds move up across the country, and what 18-year-old does that? It's like anybody who pretty well goes for a job. I went through it with uni. I didn't know if I was going to get a Victorian offer. But this was a course I really want to do. I applied for Queensland, New South Wales, Sydney, and WA, whatever it was, and got offers in those states. Luckily, at the end, I got the offer in Victoria. And I've had that with mates, turning to the jobs. They've applied for jobs. They're literally part of this job is you're travelling overseas or interstate. Now, if you don't want to do that, you don't take the job. that's fine because you know what you're getting yourself into. And I think it's no different to these young fellas. They're getting paid well, compensated well, get to play the dream sport. And if part of that's, if they don't want to do that, well, then you stay back, you play VFL, you play local footy, and you go do something else in career. That's my thought on it. But
What do you reckon?
Well, that's the point. Like, no one's making you nominate for the draft. Like, obviously, from I don't know what age they start really like telling you can make it to the top level because there are a lot of children and who become teenagers who want to get to the top level. But even if you go to where is Harley Reid from, actually, by the way?
I think it depends if
he
you're a
plays at the Bendigo Pioneers.
Yeah,
Tungala or something.
So country Victoria. So
he's going to have to move house even if he gets
that's what I mean. So
north.
they breed them pretty tough in country Victoria. Like you see time and time again where it's generally the Vic Metro boys who are like, I don't want to go to Adelaide. I want to come back to Melbourne. There's nothing wrong with Perth. There's nothing wrong with Adelaide. They're nice places to live. But
no one wants to go to Adelaide.
We'll go nice places for Perth and I get what you mean.
I mean, but at the same time, like, I don't like to mention COVID, but like, if Perth hadn't have told anybody their borders had closed for COVID, would anybody have actually noticed? No, because no one was going there. But go there for 2-3 years. Like, if you go to West Coast, right, he's going to get good coin straight away because you're about to lose a lot of players. You're not going to have to do anything the first 5 years of your career. Just ease in. I don't know, kick 30, 40, 50 goals a year if you're a midfielder. Was you that said he got names at half forward?
The boys did a full forward.
And he was a midfielder. It's like, I mean, you can just do everything. Just take the ball out of the middle. No, he'll probably be back next year and just run and kick a goal every time. Like, if you're choosing to become an AFL footballer, you know going into it that moving is part of it because we were listening on the radio before. It's like someone said, clubs want to treat them as cattle. It's like, it's not that far, but sometimes you just have to do things you don't want to do.
Yeah.
And if you're going to make, I don't know, say 600, 700K a year, does it really matter where you live? I mean, I'd take that to live anywhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I had a mate, and I won't name his name, but I'm pretty sure he does listen to the show. He had the offer to go work in the WA mine area, and he was going to get paid like hundreds of thousands of dollars to go do that job. His parents and even family and friends were like, no, we want you to stay here. His son he wanted to do, but he's very influenced by his family and friends. Knocked it back. It's taken the less money to stay in Victoria. That's the choice that he made. So, and then you hear a couple of people pipe up and go, the company here should be paying him the same amount of money to do that. Well, no. He had the choice. That's the choice that we make.
Yeah.
No different to any of these footballers. That's the choice. You want to enter into a national competition, you're going to have, there's a possibility of this happening. And I've got no problem with a bit more protection for the clubs where it's a 3 or 4 year deal where potentially there's some sort of way maybe the clubs can get out of it or maybe it's 2 years with the club's option to extend, but they're still paid at a rate that they come up with. So maybe players in their first 4 years can't earn over $300,000 or something like that. There's that sort of, and then after that, the sky's the limit kind of thing. Just because some of these clubs do need a little bit more protection. Where like North, say last year, could have got really vigilant and gone, no, Horn Francis, you're staying here because this is a 3 or 4 year deal.
I've got 2 points, right? First point is players basically dictate in the second part of their career. After the first contract, they're already dictating where they want to go. How many times have you heard, Tanner Bruin wants to go back home. He's going back to Geelong. His contract's up. He's not signing whatever club he's at. He's going home already. Jordan Dawson's played in GWS. Yep, he's going home back to a club. Players go back to Victoria. They go back to WA. Tim Kelly, for example. Yep. Suffer through the first contract, get paid, get the experience, determine where you're going after. 100%.
Yeah, I wouldn't lump Tim Kelly in there because of the family reasons, but I get where you're coming from.
Let me finish, right? Second point, I'm guaranteeing that this happens already. We heard what Rhett Bazzo had the family issues in the year that he got drafted. Basically, the stories were going around. He didn't want to leave WA. He's got this family stuff, doesn't want to leave his mum. Unfortunately, mum passed away as well. I'm guaranteeing you, behind the scenes, Harley Reid might have said this. It's come out. Yep. Now the clubs are trying to backtrack, but there will be other players who get drafted to other clubs who are like, nah, I'm staying where I am. I've got these situations. So that's almost draft tampering in itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Go for it.
Yeah. And also, if you're West Coast, they're never going to, even if he says don't draft me, they'd be stupid not to if they have pick one anyway. But you'd back yourself in anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to leave Victoria. Mate, we're going to make this football club's going to be so good with you in it, you ain't going to want to leave
Exactly.
in 2 years' time.
Yeah.
That's where clubs back themselves in.
And that's what Brisbane did, because remember they had Doherty, was it Pollock? Everybody was walking out
Crisp,
the Lions.
yep.
Exactly. So they've had all these high picks, high-profile players they're now high-profile players in the competition. And then they changed the culture. Started targeting a region, which was Country Victoria. Got Berry and McCluggage, got some family up there with them, built this culture. Now, none of those players want to leave. They all want to stay at Brisbane, and now players are actually leaving to come to Brisbane to join them. So, yeah, maybe that's a case of if it beats West Coast or any of these clubs, they go, okay, where are regions that we can target? Can we target 2 or 3 players together? Does Harley Reid have and it might not be the greatest player, but does he have a mate there in the town on that we can sort of bring together, which is going to make him stay there longer?
Well,
Raul Anderson to the Gold Coast.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I know North are trying to do it with a few people that Sheasel's played with in the past, in the last couple of years, saying, hey, come across to our clubs as well.